So don't wait until you lose that job. There are other things that we need to do. When businesses slow down, they also affect our income, all right? So there is a need to have alternative source of income. Currency risk, when the naira, the value of the naira falls against the dollar and all that, those relationships that will save you tomorrow, build that ecosystem. And finally, in volatile economies, the average professional will panic, but a resilient professional will reposition himself. So I don't know where you find yourself. The economy may not be wonderful. Are you panicking or are you repositioning yourself?
Good evening all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the Aspire for Excellence Foundation seminar webinar series. This evening, we'll be having a webinar titled The Resilient Professional, Adapting to Change in a Volatile Economy. The Resilient Professional, Adapting to Change in a Volatile Economy. So thank you very much for coming. And I would start by reading the bio of our speaker. Our speaker for the night is Professor Collins N. Udanor. Professor Collins N. Udanor is a professor of computer science and an artificial intelligence specialist. He is the current head of computer science and the director, Center of Distance and E-Learning, and the chairman of the ICT Development Committee of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN. He has many years of experience in artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, high performance computing, grid and cloud computing. He designed and implemented the distributed computing infrastructure, notably Lion Grid and the Lion Cloud for public research. Okay. So, like I said earlier on, he's also the director of High Performance and Intelligence Computing, HIPIC Lab, with activities in applied AI for NLP, social media, opinion mining, and sentiment analysis. Okay. He is also in charge of the health informatics, predicting and modeling diseases like stroke incidences, sickle cell anemia, obstructive sleep, and the rest of that. He has won several international grants and successfully managed many projects, which include the Lacuna Fund for Agriculture 2020, the 10th Fund NRF for Agriculture Fund for 2020, the 10th Fund NRF 2020 project, the UNN UNESCO HP Grid Computing Project. He also led the team that developed the Pidgin language version of the Google search engine in 2011. He is a member of the panel of judges during the 2025 and 2026 Nigeria Prize for Science, organized by NLNG Limited. And by the grace of God, Professor Collins Udanor is the pastor of Christian Charismatic Ministries Church at Nsukka for more than a decade. He is happily married to one wife and has 4 grown children. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our speaker for the night, Professor Udanor. You have the floor, sir. Go ahead, sir. Thank you. You're muted if you're speaking.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, engineer. Thank you. The Aspire for Excellence Foundation for having me. It's a privilege for me to be here today. I want to thank you for the opportunity. It's not taken for granted. And we have a long talk tonight. I hope that I will not lose you along the line. I will have something very, very important to discuss tonight. It's called the Resilient Professional, Adapting to Change in a Volatile Economy. Please confirm you can see my screen and you can hear me before I continue.
Yes, we can see your screen and we can hear you. Continue, please.
Okay. All right. So let's look at the foundation. A professional is not just somebody who is paid to do a job, but someone who does that job with specific standard of excellence. It doesn't matter how he feels when he wakes up, but he has signed a bond to do an excellent job. He's also somebody who brings predictability to chaos. He's also a lifelong learner. So he has been trained in a given field and perhaps hired or serving on his own to do the job that he's paid or is trained to do. And then there are three pillars of professionalism. Number one is competence, which is the ground or the floor on which the professional stands. And that is where we talk about the skills that he was trained for. Take a medical doctor, for instance. The basic training that he has determines his competencies, what he went to school to learn for 6 years, or the lawyer who spent 5 years, or the engineer, and so on and so forth. So the competence is the major thing that the professional possesses. The next is the character, which has to do with ethics.
Yes.
That's okay. Yeah, so I can see your screen now. So, yeah. So I said the professional is someone who is trained to do a specific job. Let's go to the next slide. We talked about the pillars, the three pillars, which is competence, character, and consistency. Yeah. This thing is popping up. Okay. Please, thank you. Please drag it all the way down. All right. So we talked about the competence. That's a skill for which the professional is trained for. All right. Then the character, which is the moral ethics. Every profession has its ethics. That's why you have bodies like the Nigerian Bar Association, the Medical Association, NMA, and the rest of them, the Nigerian Engineering Society, Nigerian Society for Engineers, or COREN. They make sure that the professional adheres to the ethics of the profession to make sure that it keeps to its integrity. And they will have consistency, reliability. So a professional must be consistent in his work, in his output, right? Okay, so professional resilience, that's what we want to talk about today. What is professional resilience? When we talk about professional resilience, we're not talking about a brick wall. We're not talking about somebody who can never have any ups and downs or oppositions. We can liken him to a coconut tree or a palm tree that is swung by the wind by a strong hurricane. But what you see about the tree is that it may seem as if it's going to be broken. It will bend, sway, but it will not snap. It will still come back to its original position. And that is what resilience looks like. So a resilient professional will always treat setback as data points rather than professional indictment or personal indictment. What do we mean by data points? You know, when you conduct experiments in the lab, you take some data and plot them maybe in your graph. And then over time, you discover that the reason why you are getting the results you are getting. So when a professional is resilient, he will treat setbacks as data points, as reasons. He will discover them as these are reasons why I have not made it yet. Just like when we talk about the story of about Einstein, or was it was the guy that got the electric bulb? So who tried the experiment several times. Some of us say 90 times, but it was more than that. But it was pressure to give up the job. But he said, no, I've only learned 99 ways in which it will not work. That is how a resilient professional reacts to adversities, how he reacts to when things are not going as it should. He doesn't see it as, oh, poor me, I cannot do better than this, and then he gives up and he doesn't want to attempt again. But this resilient professional learns from it and sees the reason why he's not getting the correct result or the expected result. Now, what are the keys to professional resiliency? Number one is growth mindset. You must have that yet factor. though I'm not there yet, but I know I'll get there. I had something yesterday. I was in a meeting yesterday, and somebody said something. He said, "Though I may not have arrived, but I have left where I used to be." So a professional who is resilient will always treat life like that. It will treat challenges like that. Though you may not be where you ought to be, but yet you know you are pressing. You know that you are making effort to be there. All right. So that helps him to have this mindset that he will always get there, no matter the struggles, no matter the difficulty. All right. Again, is somebody who has high emotional intelligence. Okay. From time to time, he presses the pause button in between stress, and he does not allow emotions to overwhelm his productivity or to discourage him from what he's trying to achieve. Okay. He also has realistic optimism. That the truth is that he admits that the world is what it is. He is not living a pretentious life, pretending that the problems are not there. No, he acknowledges that the problems are there, but he believes that things will get better, that with more effort, with more trials, with more resiliency, he will break through in what he's trying to achieve. And of course, he maintains a strong professional boundaries. Boundaries are important to keep us from burning out. We must know where our strength ends. We must know where it stops. We must know when to say no to things that are not priority, and to say yes to those things that have a long-term effectiveness, long-term reward. All right. So he knows his boundaries. Okay. And again, he has a diverse support network. It's important to, as a professional, you can't go all the way alone. This, especially in the time we live in now, this is not a time for lone ranger. He must go along with other people. There must be people that he will learn from. There are people that he will lean on. There are people that will help him to get to the next level. All right. So you see that for every professional who has succeeded in what he's doing, you check around, you discover that there are people supporting him. There are people who are encouraging him here to grow. All right. Next slide. We'll see. Yes, we see the stories of some of the greatest resilient professionals we have had in time past and even in the present time. We remember the guy called Steve Jobs, who is synonymous with Apple or iPhone. Of course, we had the story of Steve Jobs, how he was sacked from the company that he founded. And then it took him about 12 years. He had to create two other companies that he eventually bought and eventually came back. And one of his favorite statements is that the best thing that ever happened to him was being sacked by the company that he founded. So he became one of the leading innovators in the 21st century. Of course, my favorite character is Jack Ma, the Alibaba guy. I like his story. He's a true reflection of a resilient professional. Of course, if you have read his story, of course, he applied for a job 30 times. He was rejected from the job, including being even being hired by the police. Even when others have rejected him, he said, "Okay, what else can I do with my life? Let me join the police force." And the police force rejected him. It was so bad that he also applied 10 times at Harvard. Harvard rejected him and had to write him a personal letter warning him not to apply anymore. But what did he do? Did he give up did he give up in life? Did he just resign? No. He went back, looked around, what could he do? Gathered a few friends, about 27 of them, and they founded the Alibaba Express, which heralded the online shopping that others have copied today. It's a big company with a lot of capital, a lot of investments. J.K. Rowling is another person. J.K. Rowling is a woman who was coming from a divorce, coming from the loss of her mother. She is an author. She wrote 12 times. She sent her manuscript, Harry Potter. You may know Harry Potter. She sent that manuscript to authors. 12 times they were rejected. What of Oprah Winfrey? Oprah Winfrey was said not to be good enough for television. What was her problem? They say she was too emotional. And because she was too emotional, they have to remove her from the real events and took her to a backside station. And then she used what was called her weakness. That her weakness became her greatest strength. I realized that in life that people who do not understand your purpose may look at your purpose as a weakness. But when you rightly align that weakness, or the so-called weakness, when you rightly align it to your purpose, you discover it becomes your greatest strength. And that was what Oprah did. And she created her own television and began to interview people and began to give stories that touch lives, stories that change destinies. And with that, she became a multi-millionaire because she broke out of that stigmatization that she was weak, she was emotional, but she put that emotion into work to become who she became today. Today, she's celebrated as one of the greatest TV hosts in the world. There's this man, Striver. This guy is a Zimbabwean. Not many know of him, but I'm sure many have heard of Econet. Econet, I think, was later bought by Airtel or transitioned to Airtel. In 2000 or thereabout, when Nigeria licensed the first set of GSM providers, Econet was one of them. So this guy was the founder of Econet. He's a Zimbabwean billionaire based in the UK. When he started Econet, his country refused to give him license because they wanted to continue to enjoy monopoly. And this guy fought a legal battle for 5 years. He was in the Supreme Court fighting the government for 5 years, and it actually drained him to bankruptcy. But at the end, he won against the government. That was resilience. What of Funke Akindele? We know her commonly as Jennifer, with the popular soap opera Jennifer Diary. She began as a Waka Pass artist. From the Waka Pass, she became now a box office queen. Of course, you know that Waka Pass is a slogan for non-important roles in a drama or in a TV show. So she was given a role to play, and she was given the role to play as a schoolgirl. She couldn't play that. They said she couldn't play that role very well, but she went home, rehearsed with her sister, and came back and performed so excellently that today now she has transitioned to become a box office queen and has diversified into many areas. Aliko Dangote is somebody we know very well, but not many of us have heard of his failures. He had failures. He failed in the area of telecom. He invested in telecom. He lost over $20 million. He lost in telecom license and many other areas. But he still went on to create a model called the vertical integration. Using vertical integration, he creates the ecosystem that he needs to do whatever he wants. Anytime he meets an obstacle, he creates the solution for it. If you follow how he was, if you look at the story behind the Dangote refinery, you discover that he built the entire system that was needed before building the refinery. So he has understood that obstacles should not hinder him to achieve what he wants to achieve. One young guy that is interesting is called Jason Njoku. He was nicknamed the king of startup failures. Njoku was a 30-year-old guy, Nigerian, born in the UK, was living with a mother at the age of 30, had no business, had no job. He had tried his hands in so many things. He has tried startups several times and failed. Then at a certain time, his break came when he thought to himself, why don't I take, because his mother loved Nollywood movies. He said, why don't I take Nollywood movies, put them on the internet for people to see, just like what you have in what do you call it, the other streaming apps, movie apps. So he founded the Roku TV. You may be familiar with that. It's an online streaming platform for Nollywood movies. And then one of our own sister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Professor Iweala, she today is known as the first Black woman to head the WTO. But it didn't start there. When she was appointed as minister some time ago in Nigeria, at a point she was pressured by politicians to resign. When she refused, they had to kidnap her 85-year-old mother, trying to pile pressure on her. But she refused and maintained her integrity, her moral standing. In the end, she was able to broker a deal for Nigeria with the Paris Club to get debt relief for Nigeria. So these are some examples of resilient professionals whose stories we know, and there are many more. So as we look at these people, I want you to begin to see yourself in the picture. All right, please, can you zoom out this so that, yes, can you zoom it out? All right, so let's look at the Nigeria's economic volatility, because it's one of the things we are talking about today. We're looking at the professional who's resilient in a volatile economy like Nigeria. Now, we all know the Nigerian problem. First of all, is the mono economy, where everybody depends on oil, where roughly 85% of our export earnings come from crude, from oil. And any little shift affects us. I was at the mechanic site today. I was discussing with a man. He was asking me, why is fuel costly? Is it because of the war? I had to give him the background. Yes, because we are riding on a mono economy, any little shift in oil affects us, like the battle that is going on now in the Middle East is affecting the oil prices. And another thing that affects this production is that many a times Nigeria is not even able to meet up with our quota, her assigned quota, because of production gaps, sometimes due to pipeline vandalization or restiveness in the Niger Delta, and one case or the other. So these things make the economy very volatile. Another issue that makes Nigeria's economy volatile is exchange rate and the foreign exchange liquidity. Of course, when there's a change in the value of naira to dollar, it affects the economy. It affects everything from importation to transportation to everything, especially when Nigeria imports everything from toothpick to toothpaste to there's hardly anything we do not import. Some time ago, I was hearing that importing refined petroleum takes about 40% of the foreign exchange demand. So when more pressure is put on the naira because we are demanding foreign exchange, it will affect the law of demand and supply. It takes its place, and it affects the value of the naira and the purchasing power of the naira. Cost of living, and the inflation loop is another thing. So there's a phenomenon called the cost push inflation. You see, when the cost of production increases, when the factors, the elements needed to produce an item increases, then of course they will put the money into the finished product at the end of it. So that's what we find, that many a times you go to the market, you can't purchase anything because cost of production is very high. And of course, we know the reason. The reasons include issues like the environment, the required environment, like availability of power, availability of the necessary infrastructure, and then also sometimes issues like unstable government policies. Food insecurity is also another factor that affects cost of living. Of course, you know, when you go to the market today, you know what the prices are. And most of this food insecurity is coming as a result of the insecurities happening in the North Central, the Northeast, and the Middle Belt, the areas that produce the food baskets of the nation. Because the farmers have been chased out by bandits, of course, it affects the cost of food item in the market. So these are some of the volatility that we see in the Nigerian economy. And other issues include physical fragility and debt servicing. Many a times we spend so much money, Nigeria spends so much to service debts, and we keep borrowing to pad it up and give the impression that the economy is working. But in the actual sense, we are just living on postponing the doomsday. And this was one of the things that Okonjo-Iweala challenged the Senate of those days, that they need to face the reality of the day, that we cannot survive on borrowing. So debt servicing is a serious, it affects our infrastructure development and other areas that money should be put into. Then another area is structural and security bottlenecks. I've talked about the issue of power deficit and the security risks, that the issue of banditry and the rest of them. And then when you come to SMEs, a lot of companies are not surviving in Nigeria today. Those who came have folded. When you look at those South African retail chains that came, the ShopRite, the rest of them, they have all gone back. They couldn't survive it because there are a lot of hidden taxes. These taxes may be hidden in the area of trying to provide power to run your business. There was a documentary somebody did some time ago, and he showed that the real background to every SME in Nigeria is the generator that the person must own. And then when you add the present cost of fuel today to the cost of running a business, you know what that translates to. All right, let's move to the next slide. So these are the volatilities that we find in the Nigerian economic space. And these are the things that the professional must deal with. So the other issues that are global beyond Nigeria includes global job shifts and unemployment. Recently, there is the need, there is a green transition. A lot of products, a lot of companies are pushing for environmental safety, environmental sustainability, trying to reduce carbon emissions, CO2 emission, and the rest of them. And jobs that do not promote such green economy are being phased out. Let me give you an example. You see, in Nigeria today, you go to buy a small item. Let's take as maybe a bar soap, and you ask them to put it in a leather. That's a waterproof. You buy a bun, you ask them to put it in leather, and they put it in waterproof. And then this waterproof litter everywhere. But there are some places you go to, you discover that these things don't exist. Sometime I was in Rwanda, I discovered that everything you buy, they give you a paper bag. These are environmental friendly things. They are recyclable, unlike these cellophane bags. So you see that when a country, a policy can come up and say that we want to transition to environmental sustainability, you see that people who produce such items will go out of business. Demographic shift is another one. the population from across. Sorry, cut off. Please confirm you can hear me. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
We can hear
We
you
lost
now,
you
sir.
a
We can hear
while,
now, sir.
but we can hear now. Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. So let's continue. So I said in some there's a demographic shift. In some countries, you have aging population, but in the emerging markets like Africa and Asia, you have a youth-heavy workforce. So there is a shift from those areas where you have youth-heavy workforce to the area where you have aging generation. And so on and so forth. There's also the globalization issue where jobs are being distributed across borders. And you see companies seeking specialized skill sets and cost-effective talents. For some time now, some people are able to work across the globe remotely, but there are some changes that are happening, and some of those positions are not readily available as they used to be. I'm going to talk about them later, but it's part of the global trend that affects the professional. Then we talk about the gig economy, like the freelancing, the Uber, and the rest of them. These are expanding and giving flexibility, but the equation is job security. Sometimes job security is not guaranteed, and then benefits may not be fully defined as in some other paid services. Remote work is booming, and they're hiring workforce across the globe. Sometimes you see that someone elsewhere is hired because the person has better skills than yourself. All right, the person can work remotely, and that can affect your position in the job you are doing. And the person is paid less than you and has a better output than you. So a company will prefer such kind of person because he is cost effective to them, and the liability they owe him are minimum. Right. Then the big one is technological advances. AI is transforming industries and displacing jobs. I think I was telling people some time ago that we cannot continue to deny that AI doesn't take people's job. Recently, we have to own up because a lot of shifting is going on. AI is displacing millions of jobs. Let's move to the next slide. I'll show you the reason why this is happening. Yes. So these are some statistics. I may not go through all of them. You see that people are losing jobs to AI-generated content because they are cheaper, they are more efficient. Online marketplace, the call Fever has laid off 250 workers, putting AI first. They have the AI first mindset. Duolingo has also uploaded 10% of its workforce. Salesforce has fired 700 workers. AI has replaced them. And IBM also is replacing 30% of her back office workers with AI. Customer service automation is changing, and we can go on and on to keep mentioning this. So the industries most affected by this AI job replacement include customer service. A lot of chatbots can do what you do today and do it more effectively. Content creation, AI can generate realistic audio, realistic video, movie, content, designs, and all that. Even those of us who used to claim that we were programmers, today AI writes the code now. Some of us are even in danger of losing our job if care is not taken. So, so AI can code very well now and debug for you. Data entry and data analysis. These jobs are changing because AI is taking place. So what about human AI collaboration? AI is not going to work alone. AI is going to work with humans, but that will require a shift in our skill set. So job roles are changing. There is need for continuous skills development. And we see a lot of flexibility in work arrangement now. Some work arrangements can be done remotely. Some can be automated. About 30% of a lot of jobs are being automated today. And these things increase productivity, and it's costless for the employer. So I'm giving us this so that we understand why we need to be resilient and what we need to do to be resilient professionals. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're already on the next slide.
Oh, okay. The
mindset of a resilient professional. Yeah.
Now, okay, so what do we need to do? Having seen this doomsday prophecy, what should we do? We need to develop the mindset of a resilient professional. Which, are you going to have a fixed mindset as it is in the beginning, so will it be world without ending? Or growth mentality? So, one of the things I said when I was defining a professional is that a professional is continuously learning. So if you're going to be a resilient professional, you have to embrace learning. I mentioned the data point mentality before. Okay, so that means for you to continuously learn, you have to have a program to read a book per month or take a course per quarter. Today, there are so many courses online. A lot of them. There are some you can do within 24 hours. There are some you can do within 7 days. And this will add something to you. I want to say to you that AI has become synonymous to being computer literate, all right? That the test of your computer literacy now is your ability to use AI and integrate AI in your work. All right. So you should be able to take courses along this. There are so many of them, and other areas that relate to your line of profession. Okay. Find time to attend industry events, exhibitions, shows. It's an opportunity to meet with people, get contacts, learn new things, see what is going on. And then we must also see disruption as an opportunity. Okay, my network is out again.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Sorry, my network
is... Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I was talking about seeing disruption as opportunity. All right. If you look at Tony Elumelu and the rest of them that started in the late 80s or early 90s, when they broke the traditional banking system. Those days it used to be the big two was First Bank and Union Bank. Those days, before the UBA came up, Zenith Bank and all that. Today, these guys are across the globe. Recently, I think I saw, was it Zenith Bank that I heard that they are now in Belgium or different, they are entering Europe, not just Africa. So making use of the opportunities that seem not so pleasant, okay? Then we need to also have ownership mentality. We need to take responsibility. Long enough, we have blamed government for our woes. We are not saying the government is doing very well, but we need to take responsibility. We need to take our destinies in our own hands. We need to develop our personal economy. We need to work out our salvation, if I say it that way. So we need to find solution to our problem and assume. I was speaking to some students yesterday. I was telling them that your best assumption while graduating is to assume that there's no job. So don't come out with the mindset that you're looking for a job. Come out with the mindset that you're going to create one, and you'll be safer. So another thing that the resilient professional must have is emotional stability. Must be able to manage anxiety and build mental toughness. They say that tough times do not last, only tough people do. So as for tough times, they will come. The economy may not become wonderful. Some people have promised us that when they get into power, that Naira will be changing at one Naira per dollar. And of course, today you can testify how far we have gone. So it may not change, may not be better, but it's important that we manage our anxiety and build our own mental toughness, build our system. And that is why somebody like Dangote always build the system on which he works. Anything he wants to do, he will build the system that will produce what he wants. We can start small. We don't have to be like Dangote. We may not have the resources that he has, but the little we have, we can build the resources we need to build the system we want. Okay, let's do a little one or two exercises. Now, given this current economic challenge, all right, can we just, in one sentence, reframe it as an opportunity? What can you see as an opportunity with what is going on today in Nigeria? What can you see as an opportunity? What can you see? Is it the fuel scarcity, the Naira dollar exchange rate, the lack of jobs? Can you see it as an opportunity? Can you see an opportunity in it? It's like the story of Michelangelo, one of the greatest sculptors, who saw the mass of rock as he saw it as something very beautiful. He carved out an eagle, a great bird out of it, while others saw it as an obstacle. So think about it. What one thing in our current economic challenges can you refer as an opportunity? Can anybody drop any comments? Can you drop any comments? What do you see? Where do you see an opportunity in the chaos that is going on? Where do you see an opportunity? Students are coming out of school, no job. The petrol price is about 1,300. AI literacy, wonderful. Somebody says AI literacy. All right. I agree with you. AI sounds like a mystery now. But if you can dive into that, you can go far. Yes, I'm still expecting more feedbacks. Yes, only one comment. AI literacy. What else? What else are we thinking? Let's think fast. What can you see? What can you see as an opportunity? You didn't expect this. So get involved. I want you to get involved. Entrepreneurs should source locally and not depend solely. Okay, let me see. Okay. Not depend solely on imports. Okay. Build custom digital solutions. Okay. All right. Can I have one more or two more? I've gotten three. Yes. Faceless content automation via YouTube by AI. AI is doing a lot today. AI is doing a lot today. Okay. Yes, one more comment before we proceed. One more. Are we thinking? Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. Let's think. Renewable energy from waste to generate power. Okay. Foreign franchises have left, but our local protection is booming. Okay. All right. Very good. Good ones. Good ones. Okay. Now, another assignment is for you to identify a skill you want to monetize in 2026. What skill do you want to monetize? You want that skill to give you money in 2026. Let me leave that to you, but you can write it as a personal note. All right. Okay. So thank you for that exercise. I think it should get us thinking. Around us, there are things. You know, I used to think about we have a lot of waste around us. Sometimes I ask myself, these pure water bags that people drink and drop here, can't anything be done with it? The bottles, can't anything be done with it? I saw some creative things people are doing with some people go to the beach, pick those and do a lot of things with them. Some are selling them today. All right, so let's think creatively. That's how we are going to be resilient. Okay, so that skills that create security in a volatile economy. These are transferable skills, and they may include digital literacy. Somebody has talked about digital literacy. Yes, so it can pivot you to remote jobs. You can work seamlessly across the globe, wherever you are, when you have digital literacy. Digital literacy is a must. Is a must. A friend came to a fellow professor came to me yesterday. He said, oh, somebody is speaking at the background. He was telling me, he said, I can no longer pretend. I need to be trained on digital literacy. Can you get me somebody to train me on digital literacy? So it's something that we cannot do without. Digital literacy is important. Communication skill is also very important. And people who have these communication skills are indispensable to leadership. When people are being laid off, they are the last people to be laid off. Problem solving is another one. When you have transitioned from cost center to value creator, then you are a problem solver. You are bringing value to the organization. The organization is not just seeing you as cost item, somebody to be paid by the end of the month, but they are seeing you by the value that you are bringing to the table, the value you are bringing to the organization. So it makes you indispensable. All right. Another thing is data analytics and interpretation skills, okay, which allows you to quantify your own impact. For instance, with your data analytics tools, you have the facts and figure. You can say to your organization, it was my input that changed the figure, that changed our depth profile, that moved us from this to this level. You have the facts and figure, so you can quantify your own impact in the organization. Sales and persuasion is another thing. Those who can bring in the money are those that will be last to go. They'll be the last to let go. Those that bring in the money. That's why when you go to banks, you see that the customers, what do they call them? No, the marketers. The marketers are the kings in the bank because they are the ones that bring the money. So they enjoy a lot of privileges because they are the ones that bring the money. So when they are laying up people, the marketers are the last to be laid because they are the geese that lays the golden egg. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Where are we? Yes. So another strategy that can make us resilient is to have multiple streams of income, and then to strategically reposition ourselves. We have seen the Nigeria's mono economy issue, and so as individuals, we need to ensure that we come out of that same loop, because when there's corporate layoffs, if your earning is only dependent on your salary, then it means that you are cut off completely. If there's no other source of income, that is just you're waiting for the paycheck by the end of the month, then once you lose that job, then there's no other option. So don't wait until you lose that job. There are other things that we need to do. When businesses slow down, they also affect our income, all right? So there is a need to have alternative source of income. Currency risk, when the naira, the value of the naira falls against the dollar and all that. Somebody was telling me yesterday that the politicians and some industrialists are trying to crash the dollar by next year. I'm waiting to see how that is going to happen. But if it happens and you have money, you have made your savings in dollar, then you're going to have some rethink to do. But I'm waiting for the indices that will make that to happen. Okay. Smart diversification is then the key. What do we do to avoid all these dangers in a mono economy? All right, consulting. Whatever you do, I think one of the things many of us have not done is to monetize our skill. There are information we give for free, but some of those information can yield you money. All right. So as part of your work, aside of your work, you can have a consulting outfit, something you do at your spare time. And one of the things I've learned in this era is that you do not really need an office to do some of these things. There was a time I used to have an office, and I discovered that I was whatever money I made in that office, I either paid local government, I paid the environmental people, I paid NEPA. By the end of the day, I used my salary to service the office, and in the end, I come back sorrowing. Until I had to close the office and I began to operate virtually. I discovered I was doing better than being in that office and paying all the bills. So there are a lot of things we can do today, a lot of consulting we can do today without having a physical office. You can use your house address as your address, or a friend's office, and the rest of it. There are digital products that we can develop today. You see a lot of AI movies coming up, AI shows and tutorials and all that, digital products that we can develop with free tools. We can go into partnership with people who have maybe shops, outlets. I learned that when you go to Balogu Market, for instance, in Lagos, there are a lot of people, all these women who sell Ankara, all these things, they are looking for guys that will take their products and put it on the social media. Yes, so you can actually develop digital presence for people that own physical businesses that do not know how to do that. So you can go around your town, go around where you are living, and you can find people you can partner with on a percentage that when sales come from that link, you are getting something out of it. Okay. Then small investment, low cost investments. There are some small businesses we can do that do not cost so much that sometimes we can start with little, or we can start by taking goods on credit, just like Dangote started by borrowing cement, taking cement on credit from his uncle Dan Tata in those days, and today he's across the globe and is the richest black man. So multiple stream of income is non-negotiable for us. for anyone who wants to be a resilient professional. I have read the book of Genesis, chapter 10 to 14, and I kept seeing this. Whenever I see this river that is parted into Gihon, Pishon, Hadekel, Euphrates, one thing goes to my mind, and that is that if you're a Bible-believing Christian, if you read the Bible, the minimum you are permitted to have is 4 streams of income, minimum of 4 streams of income. So I ask myself every day, what are your 4 streams of income, minimum? So I want to ask you now, can you identify your other sources of income apart from your salary? Can you identify them? How many can you count? Can you recognize? So maybe this is an assignment that we'll do. So, but go and reflect on it. Ask yourself. I've asked myself over and over. Yes, and I satisfied myself that I have minimum of 4 streams of income. They may not be much. They may not all come at the same time, but you are sure that if one doesn't come, the other comes. At all time, you enjoy liquidity. All right. All right. Let's go to the next slide as we get ready to conclude. Okay. Yes. Next slide. So, another thing we need to do to be professionally resilient is to build personal brand. Are you visible online as a professional? LinkedIn is that page where you find professionals. And I want to say that this has helped me. It was through this that I've gotten a lot of referrals through my presence in LinkedIn, or maybe on Twitter or X, Instagram, and all that. So, but you need to build a professional brand on these platforms that reflect your kind of business, right? So have a presence where you can be found. Somebody said that if you are not online today, you are nowhere. So no matter how wonderful the business you are doing is, if you are not online, you are nowhere. All right. So build a professional reputation. It's important. Build a reputation, a brand for yourself that people know that you do not compromise with quality. Do not compromise with your integrity. You don't compromise with your product or services. Have that reputation that people know you for this. Be consistent in it. All right. Find opportunity to feature on professional platforms. When people are presenting what they are doing, find opportunity to exhibit yourself also. All right. And as an exercise, I want you to draft a 1-sentence professional positioning statement. What is that describes you distinctly? What's that one statement that you can use to describe yourself? I was listening to a talk on last Sunday. Yes, Speak 5 talk, and the speaker said something. He said challenge status quo. And I think he said embrace standards, right? So that is his positioning statement. So what is your positioning statement by which you are known? And it reflects your character, your corporate and personal character. All right. So we can have some financial resilience strategies like having emergency funds. You can build funds, have fund for your living expenses. Set out those funds so that even if things don't work as it should, you must have something set aside. And then there are also inflation defense strategies like asset acquisition. When we develop that mindset, the Jews, one of the things the Jews teach their children is how to postpone the desire for personal aggrandizement. All right. So first of all, they think of investment. A typical Jew, a Jewish child, is taught not to buy a product the first time he sees it. When you go to that supermarket, when you see that thing, don't buy it the first day. Give it 3 days. Within those 3 days, you're going to ask yourself some questions. Do I need this thing? Is it a wish? Is it a must? Is it a necessity? Is it a luxury? By the time you take 3 days to think about it, you discover that you don't need that thing that you would have bought. So, but if we invest in assets like land and some equipment and those things, these are things that appreciate over time. These are things that can deliver us in times of financial crisis or economic volatility. Investing in skills before luxury. I used to tell young people, I said, when I began work, I spent my salary. Thank God I wasn't married then, so that nobody would query me. Because when I got my salary, I would go and buy books on programming. I taught myself to program in Java, Basic, whatever language. I still have those books filled in my shelf today. That's how I developed myself. So before you think of buying television, before you think of buying the latest iPhone, think of the skill that you can acquire. The skill stays with you. That phone can be stolen or can get lost and it's gone forever. All right. So the other thing we need to do is smart risk management. Avoid emotional investment. Do not invest because people are doing it, because you're under pressure and all those things. So check the background. Be sure that it is worth investing in. And of course, you must have done your work, your homework. Somebody said, do not give, I think it was what's this guy? The guy that wrote the book on the richest man in Babylon. He said, never trust a bricklayer to buy gold for you.
George S. Classic. George
Yes,
S. Classic.
Yes, it's a classic. The book is a classic. I've never forgotten that. I said, never trust a bricklayer to buy gold for you. So any investment, any area that you have not proved, don't put your money in there. All right. Another thing we need to do as we try to manage risk is to think and plan in long term. Today, some time ago, when the sons of what is his name, Pascal Dozier, the one that was running Diamond Bank those days, when they sold Diamond Bank, they started fintech. People thought they were foolish. But today we see where fintech is going. That fintech is taking over the conventional banking system. All right. So one of the lessons we learn is that innovation thrives even in unstable economy. I remember during the 2020, during the COVID-19, we discovered that every other business failed except telecommunication. Every other business failed except innovation. I was looking at the gains, what made gain during that period, and I discovered that it was telecommunication. Everybody went online. Everybody went. That was when we began to use Zoom and the rest of them. Schools began to re-strategize. So innovation will always thrive in the era of instability. Okay. As we round up, let's talk about building networks, reputation, and strategic relationships. Social capital can be our economic capital, our relationships, our opportunities that we get when we meet with people. It could be through mentors, could be through peers, it could be through communities in our industry area that we find ourselves in. All right. So one of the exercises we need to do as we close is to list 5 people that you must intentionally connect with. List 5 persons that you must intentionally, especially in your industry. Where are those? Good enough now with, when you're on LinkedIn, you can connect with these people that are not readily reachable. From time to time, as you follow them and you see what they do, you can connect with them. If there are events that they are going to be there, you show up in such events and meet with them, and before you know it, you are among the big players. All right. Finally, in summary, we want to say that if you are going to be a resilient professional in a volatile economy like Nigeria, you need to observe these 5 pillars. Okay? You need to have the mindset, the resilient mindset. You need to have skills that are relevant. in this time and age. You need to diversify your income. You need to have financial discipline. Think of investment before lottery. You need to have strategical relationships. Those relationships that will save you tomorrow. Build that ecosystem. And finally, in volatile economies, the average professional will panic, but a resilient professional will reposition himself. So I don't know where you find yourself. The economy may not be wonderful. Are you panicking or are you repositioning yourself? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, please. Can we put our hands together for him, at least digitally now? Please, if we can take some time to appreciate our speaker for the night, I think that would be good. That's one way of saying thank you and showing our gratitude for tonight. So we'll go to the chat box now. Let's see if we have any questions. Thank you very much for appreciating our speaker for the night. Generally, we've seen a number of things. However, we're not going to go through them because of our time. However, it's divided into 5 pillars, and I would like to repeat. 1 is mindset resilience. Everything begins from the mind. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. 2, he graduates from the mind to the hand. That's the skills it's talking about. We see we are operating in a volatile economy. It talks about skill relevance. So get a skill and add more skills. And add more skills to the skills you have. And number 3, it talks about income diversification. Okay, in addition to the skills you have, diversify your income. He talked about the 4 streams of income in Genesis 2 from 10 to 14. So look about different ways when your income can be shut off. And number 4, he talked about financial discipline. Okay, yes, some people say, I don't know how to make money, but I know how to blow it. Okay, let's do reverse now. Don't only know how to blow it, know how to make it, and know how to be disciplined also with it. Then finally, he talks about strategic relationships. You've heard those words before. Your network is your network. Okay, so turn your network into your network. So let's see if we, on behalf of Aspire for Excellence Foundation, I really want to thank every one of you for taking our time. There is no question tonight, so I want to take some time to thank every one of you for connecting, and we hope that you'll be able to, I would say, practice this. We're going to share the materials in on the platform, on the WhatsApp platform. So